Lock in, be set, because today we are raising the standards of your life and how you live it. We are going to completely glow up your entire life in just 30 days. And today we are doing that by remodeling your environments. And yes, I said environments because we have many different environments that influence how we think, feel, and the actions that we take on a daily basis. And your environmental containers can either absolutely make you or break you. So before the new year, I am going to teach you exactly how your environmental containers are affecting your success and how you can remodel and optimize them to make this year your best and most successful yet. If you're new here, hi, my name is Brooke, and I am a master mindset, manifestation, and success coach, currently helping you to glow up your entire life in just 30 days. I am also currently enrolling my signature manifesting success course, Scale, where we spend 6 months together absolutely transforming your life, combining divine feminine and divine masculine energy and manifestation principles to create massive soul-aligned success in the new way that does not require burnouts. So if this is the year that you want to transform your life and finally make your big dreams a reality, I will link the enrollment page down below. And make sure that you get in now because you only have until November 11th to get in on this special discounted early bird pricing in this really hands-on special round. Okay, before we get started, I want to do a little roll call. I told you guys in episode 1 of this 30-day challenge that each week I would be roll calling to check in, make sure you're still here with me, that we're still in this together. So comment down below and let me know that you are still here with me for week 2. Also update me on how you're doing with everything that we covered already in week 1. And let me know if there's any way that I can support you in the following weeks or in the comment section below. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe so that you'll be notified for week 3 next week. Here is the breakdown of the episode so you know what to expect. I have all the timestamps down below, and let's dive in. Don't forget, we also have an exclusive email that goes out each week with additional prompts and a breakdown of what you're doing to apply what we learn here each week. So be sure to sign up for that, and that will be linked down below for you too. Okay, let's talk about remodeling and optimizing your environment. Last week we did the setup, and then this week we are going to actually put all the physical supports in place to make your glow up actually feel really natural for you. I like to explain this concept as containers. You can think of everything in your life as fitting into some sort of container. You have external containers, internal containers, your home environment is a container, your mindset is a container. Everything is a container. I teach this in depth in Scale, but I like to think of everything as an incubator of energy. So the container contains a certain frequency within it. Anything that you can think of, you can actually imagine the energy that it radiates and that you feel and you pick up on and that you begin to align to when you step into that space. Whether it's actually a physical space or more of a conceptual space like social media. We are always subconsciously reading, picking up on, and aligning to the frequencies that we are surrounded by. Take a second to even just think of 3 of the very common popular containers in your life that probably affect you the most: your home, your workspace, and social media. And then close your eyes and just feel into the energy of each of those individually. And notice how they each have their own unique and individual sort of energetic associations. Maybe some make you feel really good. Maybe others not so much. Every time that you plug into these containers, you are aligning to their energy. And this is the really cool part. They're conditioned behaviors as well, but more on that in just a minute. So why is this important? First of all, your home on its own is such a massively important and influential container for you. I mean, this is where you live. Like, take a second to just see yourself from your higher self perspective or from a space of just really loving yourself and wanting the best for yourself. And then look at where you've plopped yourself down in your home, right? I'm about to get a puppy. And so I've been thinking a lot about the spaces that I want to cultivate for my puppy. And because I love it, well, I don't have it yet, but I know that I'll love it. I want it to have a really supportive and comfy and cozy space that it feels good in. But we don't often always do that for our own selves. So it can be helpful to take a higher self perspective, more of a third party view on how we are living in our home environments, in all of our environments, but specifically right now we are talking about the home, and to love yourself enough to let yourself live well. Outside of our physical body and our mind, this is our most influential container because this is where we spend the majority of our time. Our home environment is constantly reaffirming to us what we think and feel about ourselves. You identify with your environments. It's an externally triggered feedback loop, and subconsciously all the time is reaffirming to you that that is who you are. What this means is that as you look out into your environment, the places that you spend most of your time, for a lot of us, that is our home. We find ourselves in our environments. We see ourselves in them. And this all happens on a subconscious level. On a subconscious level, we are always seeking proof for our beliefs. And our external reality is a perfect mirror to anything that we are believing or feeling about ourselves on the inside. So then when we look out into our external reality, and by byproduct, it is reflecting back to us our beliefs and feelings about ourselves, it just acts as further proof that reinstalls that belief even deeper within us. Here's the other really cool part about environmental containers, especially when it comes to glow ups. We can actually hack the system and help to cause change within our own lives by setting up the conditions to encourage it. We've all probably heard the quote that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. The other day, I heard a different version of this quote and it really stuck with me. I wish I could remember where I heard it from, but if I can find the podcast, I will link it below. But basically what it said is that you can take the horse to the water, you can dehydrate the horse, you can put salt in the horse's mouth, and you can place the horse an inch from water, and you can about 100% guarantee that that horse is going to drink the water. Basically, what this is saying is that when we create the conditions that motivate and encourage certain actions, we're much more likely to actually take those actions. And we can do this for ourselves by optimizing our environment to promote the conditions that encourage us to feel the ways that we want to feel, think the ways that we want to think, and act and install the habits that we want to take. So let's talk about the law of correspondence, also known as the law of mirrors, a little bit more since I already kind of brought it up. This law essentially states that reality is a mirror. Everything outside of you in your life is just reflecting back to you what you feel and are experiencing within. So this is where that saying, as above, so below, as within, so without comes from. It's saying as above on the spiritual energetic field, so below in our 3D physical reality. As within our energy body, within our mind, so without. So is what we see outside of us. And this is an ancient spiritual quote. I believe it's from the Kabbalion, but modern day science, neuroscience of how the subconscious mind actually works to create our reality supports this. We can look out to our environment, and this might be a little triggering for some, so stick with me. And we can see how we feel about ourselves internally, what we think and feel about ourselves, the type of person you see yourself as, and what you feel like you are deserving of. The most important part of a glow up is transforming how you see yourself, because that is what is going to be reflected into everything external. But we are going to go so much deeper into that in episode 3. Right now, what we are going to do is set the stage for that, so that when we do that work, you already have the external triggers set up that continue to reaffirm this new identity and belief about yourself. So as you look out to your external reality, you'll be able to find the proof that further installs that new belief that we will be implementing. Basically, what we are doing now is cultivating the perfect environment to support the growing of this new you. Taking the physical action to clean up your environmental containers also shows proof of commitment. It shows your higher self, universe, God, source, that you know that you are worthy and deserving of better, and that you are ready for it and ready to uphold it. You manifest at the level of the standards that you accept. As humans, we are extremely adaptable, and we will adapt to whatever environments we set ourselves in. So set yourself up for the success that you want by setting up these containers that positively reinforce the standards that you want for yourself. You will help yourself glow up to a higher caliber by surrounding yourself with higher caliber spaces that you intentionally cultivate to support your goals. So that is exactly what we are doing here today. So let's get into the details. You know, from episode 1, we are basically breaking everything down into the actions that you take, the energetic embodiment, and then we're making it fun with romanticization. In Scale, we talk a lot about containers, and we also demystify rituals and create powerful subconscious triggers through our containers and rituals. So we're going to dabble in that energy a little bit here today by bringing a lot of this romanticization and sort of ritualizing the work that we're going to be doing. I don't want you to think of everything that we're covering and doing this big life makeover as just another thing that you need to do and just rushing to get the things done. I want you to really juice it for all that it is, really make it something special and meaningful for you. And that's going to help to make it more lasting as well. So as we go through all the points that we're about to dive into, I really want you to be thinking of how you can ritualize this or romanticize it for yourself when you actually go and walk the talk of these actions and apply them in your real life. Okay, starting with our most common container, again, the one that I said is one of the most influential containers around us, and that is our home environment. I am a firm believer in the saying, clear space, clear mind. I'm sure we can all relate to how much clearer you think and how much better you feel when you aren't surrounded by a mess or a bunch of clutter. I know for me, and with having ADHD, it's really hard for me to work when I'm in a place that is overstimulating because there's too much clutter, there's too much going on. Your home is such a powerful energy incubator because it is the place that you are when you wake up. It's where you go when you go to sleep. It's where you get ready in the morning. You spend so much really intimate time there. And from the moment you wake up, it is telling you who you are and what you value. I want you to think of the love that you want to spoil other people or other things like your pets in your life with. And I want you to start to give that to you. You would never want someone that you love dearly to be in a place that makes them feel like shit or that doesn't support them or makes them feel any negative way about themselves. Without even knowing it, every single day, we are just being subconsciously influenced and reiterating who we have been based on our external environment. So as we live in our home environments, every little detail is telling us a little bit about ourselves. And it's such a life hack when we realize this and when we utilize it for our benefit, because like I said, it is an energy incubator. If you can set up the proper conditions in your home to help encourage you to feel a certain way and think a certain way about yourself, now you are helping yourself to prime your subconscious mind and instill the belief in this new next level version of yourself even further and locking it in as simply who you are as your identity. You're giving yourself proof of it in your external environment. And we don't have to make it super hard or tricky either. We can start really small. I want you to think of your home as like an interactive vision board. It's a physical vision board where you can include certain triggers and things that help you to feel more like your up-leveled self. Like I said, these things can be small, like dishware. When I moved into my new home, I knew that I wanted to have really vibey dishware that I like taking pictures of and that I just felt like I enjoyed eating out of. You can upgrade your bedding. Maybe it's as simple as the beauty products and the perfumes that you use and using the ones that your next level self would, or at least a few of them, and displaying them in a way that really makes you feel pampered and lavished and taken care of. Also, a free option is simply getting organized. Just imagining how your next level self lives, how they feel in their home environment, and then just tweaking your environment a little bit here and there with the simplest things that without even knowing it subconsciously, when you interact with these things, when you do this thing, when you're putting on your makeup and your makeup drawer is organized, it's making you feel more like the embodiment of your next level self and giving you little bits and pieces of the life that that next level version of yourself is living now. It's really a hack for how we can collapse that timeline and bring pieces of our dream life into our current life now. The key here is to make sure that your home is positively nourishing you. This should be your absolute safe space, your next level self incubator. When we go out into the world, when we interact with people who have known us our whole lives, when we're at our jobs or just doing the mundane things from our life that remind remind us of all the versions of ourselves that we used to be, it can feel hard sometimes to maintain that embodiment of your next level self. But in your home environment, this is the space that you have full power over. Yeah, you might not be in that high-rise luxury apartment that you're manifesting at, and maybe you even share a house or an apartment with other people, but you can make your space into a mirror that you will look into that will encourage you feeling more like your next level self. I really know the importance of this. You guys may know that recently I moved out of Los Angeles, and as much as I love LA, it just wasn't supporting me the way that I needed my environment to support me at where I am in this point in my life. I love that where I live now, I can look out my window and just see green. I can drive around my neighborhood and go to my local store and just be surrounded by greenery, where obviously I did not get that in the city. I wanted more space in my life now because my next level self lives in a spacious home. I wanted it to be more quiet, more privacy. These were all things that I saw for my next level self, and I wanted to collapse that and give myself as much of that now as I possibly can. And truly, since moving here, every single day, I cannot even begin to tell you how positively my new home has been impacting the way that I feel. I think every single day, me and my boyfriend look at each other and say, oh my God, I love this home. Because it just feels good to have the space to cultivate this environment that really feels like it matches who we're becoming. And I've taken all of these tips that I'm giving you here now into consideration when I moved here and really set up my home to be an energy incubator for my next level self. Of course, not all of us can just pick up and move at any time. And also, who would want to do that? I know that after this move, I'm like, I do not want to move for a minute now. So here are some things that you can do now to just make your home environment match your next level self and feel better. Absolutely, number one, you need to cleanse and bless your space. Connect to your environment. This is where that romanticization, ritual aspect really comes in. I want you to sort of personify your home and really see yourself as nurturing it, taking care of it, really connect to this place that is your home. Because like I said, outside of your mind and body, this is probably the next closest and most influential habitat that you're in. So connect to it, form a relationship with it, begin to love it and nurture it. I'm a firm believer that the things that we love and nurture us back. So maybe after watching this, you want to set up a day where you go through some of the things that we're going to talk about and you make it really ritualized. You might want to smoke cleanse your home. You may want to bless it, or just be really intentional and present as you're organizing the things and setting the new things up and just getting your space together. It can also feel good to just simply move furniture around and just breathe new fresh life into your space. You want to set the vibes, okay? I love setting the vibes in my home. It just makes me feel more luxurious, more valued, more like I'm in this luxury up-leveled setting. And of course, that helps me to be more in the embodiment of my most abundant, most successful, most luxurious, top-tier self. So some ideas for this: essential oils, incense, or candles. This has become a part of my daily routine. I have like an incense bar setup situation literally in every corner of my house. And when I wake up in the morning and I make my coffee and I make my greens, I also start my essential oils and my incense. And then as I sit on my couch and I do my journaling and my reading, I'm just in this vibey setting that really makes me feel super valued and loved. And like my life is special and romanticized just because of that. We're big about natural lighting in our house. Also, we love salt lamps, just more of a soft, romantic lighting. Of course, placing crystals throughout your house that just help to up the frequency. And also, big fan of music, having a soundtrack. I love playing jazz. I learned this from Lauren Bostic of the Skinny Confidential, that she plays jazz throughout her house. And I just cannot even begin to say how much that does make you feel like you're just fancy. I'll play it while I get ready sometimes too, and I just feel like I'm in like an old glamour movie. Obviously, your setting the vibes is going to be different and unique for you, but these are just some of the examples to help your life just feel a little bit softer, more romantic, more special and juicy. And again, this is all very subconscious. It's not even necessarily that as you light the incense and as you're sitting there with the soft glow of your salt lamp, that you're going to consciously think to yourself, wow, this is nice. I mean, you might, I definitely do, but it's more just a subconscious recognition of you're in a really nice, nurturing, cozy, vibey space. Which brings me to my next point, and that is setting up what I like to call sweet spaces. These are like your nooks, your spots, those little anchor points throughout your home that when you're in them or when you're doing an activity in them, you feel really good. So some examples of this for me is my coffee bar and where I make my coffee every morning. It is literally nothing special. It's a coffee machine. There's a drawer of my coffee pods and my mugs are above it. But I just love that I have that area designated to it. And like I said too, as my coffee's being made, I have my incense and my essential oils nearby that I just set up in the kitchen while my coffee is brewing. And this has become a morning ritual for me and has just anchored in this feeling of home and coziness and feeling excited to start a new day. Any other little special nooks for yourself? I really made a point to do this when I moved into my new home. So if you come into my home, you will see that there's a ton of little cozy nooks where you might find a little chair or a sitting area, some crystals, some books that you can flip through, again, an incense or a candle set up, but just these cozy, inviting areas that kind of pull you in. I have tarot cards there and I'll just take a seat and read myself a bit of tarot, or I'll flip open a book. I always like to have either poetry or spiritual books there that I can just open and read a passage from that can serve as a message for me. If you don't have a lot of space for yourself, or even if you do, I also really encourage you to create some sort of cozy nook that is just for you, that can be your safe space, your space to journal, to meditate, to sit in when you visualize and tap into the energy of your next level self. What you're going to do is create an anchor point in that space where you feel really good when you are there. And you don't need a lot of space for this either. This can just be a corner of your room that you make cozy and vibey. Really think of the energy that you want to be feeling on a daily basis and make that the energy that you cultivate your home to have. Maybe you want your space to really encourage a lot of relaxation, calmness, creativity, even like a sexy vibe. You can have different rooms kind of carry a different energy and be a different energy incubator for you. For example, maybe your bathroom you make into a space that helps you tap into your confidence and your sexiness. And it has a kind of noir feel. Maybe you really romanticize the way that your perfumes and your beauty products are laid out. Maybe your bedroom really has this relaxed spa-like feel, very simple and clean. Something that I like to point out too, that I feel like a lot of people need to hear, is that your environment doesn't have to be sterile either, okay? If you're all for that like minimalist beige vibe, pop off. But your environment can be whatever is something that you want to be reinforced into feeling into in your own life. For me, in my home, I do want a relaxed feel. Like I said, I can tend to get very overwhelmed. So I like to have a space that helps me to have a clear mind. But I also like to infuse my space with a lot of life and mysticism. So you'll find crystals, incense, tarot, spirituality books, little trinkets and things here and there around my house. And my home is truly filled with things that bring me joy. And trust me, I know cultivating a home takes a lot of time. It can take a lot of money as well. So I'm not telling you to go out and break the bank, but do what you can with what you have available to you now. Even if that just means taking some time to clear things out, to declutter, to organize, to rearrange your space in a way that you feel flows better. I know I just rearranged my office the other day because the vibes were not vibing and it feels so much better. Look into feng shui and move your home around accordingly. It really does work. Anything that you notice in your home is not a representation of who you want to become. It's time for it to go. Okay, let's talk about organizing and optimizing your environment. Organizing your home is so helpful on so many different fronts. It helps you to think way more clearly. It helps you to save time so that you can be more productive. Think about it as like having a blank canvas or everything lined up perfectly, or it being like a game of I Spy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those books that just have everything all over the page. That is overwhelming. That's draining and exhausting for our minds. And so if we want to be our most productive selves, our most successful selves, if we want to feel high class, high quality, top tier, then we want an environment that reaffirms that to us. And organization is a big part of that. You would never go into some 5-star luxury hotel and just see shit all over the place. It's clean, it's pristine. This is class, it's quality. This is something that I will be working on way more in the new year as well, actually throughout this winter. So I will be sure to vlog it for you guys. Like I said, I moved into this home pretty recently, so we're not fully organized yet. Black Friday is coming up, so I actually have so much in my Amazon cart that I'm going to buy on Black Friday for organization. So I will add that to some sort of Amazon list for you guys. So if you're doing this same thing, you can grab those items or wait until Black Friday, like I will be doing too. So I'll link my Amazon down below. Okay, now optimizing your space. This is the part that I absolutely nerd out about because it's just chef's kiss. This is all about creating the right conditions for your goals. You want to optimize your space by creating positive triggers for the actions that you want and make it absolutely dumb easy for you to take these actions. Some examples of what this will look like. Let's say you want to get fit. That's one of your goals here in this 30-day glow up. How could you optimize your space to support and encourage taking those actions required to help you get more healthy and more fit? Maybe you lay out your workout clothes or get your gym bag together the night before. Maybe you clean out any junk food from your cabinets or your fridge and you just stay stocked up with healthy, nourishing foods. Maybe you put sticky notes even on your mirrors or in your closet or some place where you'll see them daily that reaffirm new positive, loving thoughts about yourself and your body. Maybe you're someone who really wants to tap more into your spirituality and really focus on your mindset and energy game this year, but you have a really hard time actually sticking to the activities that support that. You could set your journal, a pen, your headphones, a book, and a little reading light right on your bedside table so that right when you wake up, everything is right there for you to dive into. Let's say your goal here is to blow up your external appearance. Maybe you get all of your skincare items organized and set out in a really beautiful way so that it actually encourages you to do it. I actually just got back from a trip and I started breaking out really bad. So I laid out all of the skincare that I'm using every day. So it just makes it so easy for me at night. I have no excuse when I brush my teeth at night to go ahead and do my entire skincare routine too, which honestly, I've been kind of lazy about in the past. Maybe you create a Pinterest board or some kind of visual of your go-to looks, your go-to beauty looks, hair looks, outfits, so that it just makes it easy for you when you're getting ready in the morning or planning your outfits for the week. More on that next week when we get more into self. Another way that you can support yourself in this is by getting rid of all the clothes and the beauty products and the things that don't suit you, especially when it comes to clothes. Trust me, you will feel way better if you only have 5 shirts than having 500 just junky shirts that you've collected over the years. I know I've always held back from cleaning out my closet in the past because I didn't want to have no clothes, but trust me, get those key items that make you feel good, that make you feel like your next level self, and make them your go-tos. You don't need much. And on that note, just get rid of all junk. Get rid of all things in your environment that don't reaffirm who you are becoming now. That could be anything, and I'm going to save the time by going into the details for that. But I want you to do a massive clean out and ask yourself if these are the things that your next level self would use or wear or buy again. If it's not, get rid of it, because all it's doing is reaffirming an old version of you. Okay, let's dive into some other containers. These are other environments that we need to be reassessing and clearing the junk out of if we want to drastically glow up this year. Relationships and the people that you hang out with and around are influencing your frequency. Remember what I said earlier, we are constantly reading picking up on and aligning to the energies that we are surrounded by. Everything is an incubator of energy, and the people that we surround ourselves are emitting their own unique frequencies too. So while yes, this is definitely the relationships that you have in your life, this is also the places that you surround yourself with. Any relationship that isn't serving you and serving your up level, or isn't somebody that your next level self would want to invite into your life, they gotta go. Of course, we can still have our friends and family who might not be on the same wavelength as us, but I'm talking about the people who are really holding you back, the people who are not supportive of your growth and don't want to see you win. That's a harsh reality that I had to face recently too, so I know how hard it is, and you probably don't want to hear this, but trust me, they're probably talking shit about you behind your back anyways, so just let them go. You want to surround yourself with relationships with people that lift you up, that brighten your day, that make you feel like a better version of yourself, that motivate you, encourage you, and are cheering you on. Again, you are going to be picking up on these people's frequencies, so choose your relationships wisely. Now, going more into picking up on other people's energies that maybe we don't specifically have a close relationship with, but that we're in the same environment of, okay? This is like our secondary locations. So we want to do a remodel as well of the other environmental containers we are in, which are the spaces where you spend your time, your secondary locations. This can be like the gym that you go to, the coffee shops that you frequent, the grocery stores that you shop at, the restaurants you go to, the bars and clubs you hang out at. I want you to ask yourself, do these need up-leveled? Are these a representation of an older version of you, or are they in alignment with who you want to become? Maybe once a week you start taking a workout class in a neighborhood that you really want to manifest living in one day, and you just love being surrounded by the Pilates moms. Maybe on the weekends you take the extra few minutes to drive to that really cute, vibey coffee shop in a nice area of town. Maybe you even go and work from those coffee shops a couple days a week. Think about your go-to places when you're going out to eat or when you're going to go grab some drinks with friends. You can up-level these and completely change the kind of people that you're surrounded by, or the quality of food and ingredients that you're putting in your body. And this is not to say that you have to do this stuff all the time, but sometimes it's really nice to give yourself a taste of that life that you're manifesting. So go to the nice restaurant, hang out at that fancy bar. You never know who you might meet or the doors that it might open for you. Even, and this is kind of a funny one, but I did this a lot, you can switch up the route that you drive. So in my last house in LA, there was one way out of my neighborhood that you drove on more of a busy street, and then another way that took you through Mulholland Drive. And so even if it said there was going to be more traffic the Mulholland Drive way, I would drive down Mulholland Drive because I loved just being surrounded by the nice houses and the views and the nice cars that would drive by. So can you take a more scenic route that just ups your vibe? Okay, moving on to your work or your work environment. If you are in a toxic work environment, other than your home, this is probably the place that you spend the most time. So it's really time for you to set the intention to get the fuck out. These are the people that you're spending a lot of time with, the place that you're spending a lot of time in. So if you feel like you've overstayed your welcome there and it's not helping you to grow in any way anymore, then definitely set the intention for something better, something more aligned with where you want to go now, and start looking. Nothing changes if we don't also take the action to really kickstart that change. If you're somebody who's wanting to start your own business or take your side hustle to the next level, or you're wanting to grow in your career, but you're not sure how to do so in a way that also feels good to you and saves you from getting burnt out, I highly recommend joining us in Scale. You're going to be surrounded by so many other like-minded individuals who are also creating their own versions of success, building their own businesses, scaling and succeeding, and doing so in a way that does not leave them feeling burnt out. Scale is great if you are somebody who runs a business, you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you have dreams of being your own boss and being able to be in charge of what you're surrounded by every single day. But even if you're not, and you're just someone who wants to learn how to live life in a way that's more balanced, more enjoyable, while still being able to succeed in your career and up-level all areas of your life all the time, I highly recommend it. I know I'm biased, but I really, truly believe it's the best program for manifestation and for success on the market. Something else that you can do if you don't just want to get up and leave your job, or maybe you work from home and it just feels like dull and dry, is you can really romanticize your work environment. You can create rituals around your workday, romanticize your workday, and set up your desk in a way that feels really motivating and romantic to you. I know that when I worked in an office, I always had a little essential oil spray bottle, and I would just clean and keep my desk really organized. It just made me feel better. And in my office now, it truly is my sanctuary. Like I shared, I just recently moved it around, but I have multiple different sitting areas within my office because I like to get up and move around. Also, don't be afraid to switch up, especially if you work from home, where you're working from. Maybe you don't work at your desk every day. Maybe some days you work from another area in your house that you've set up to be optimized for you to feel really good and productive and focused as well. Your car is another environment that you spend a lot of time in. I have a whole video about how I manifested both my Tesla and now my Porsche. But really the key with your car, whether you're manifesting a car or you just want to optimize the environment to feel good, is again to treat it like it is a luxurious space. Even if it's an old beat up car, keep it clean. Make sure it smells nice. Maybe stock it with your favorite gum and your chapsticks. Just make it a space that feels supportive and good for you, because I know we also spend quite a lot of time in our cars too. Okay, moving on to more sort of tech, because these are environments that we plug into as well. Your computer, if you have a million tabs open, get that shit figured out. If you have documents all over your desktop, it is time to clean that up. I actually like to put my vision board on the screensaver or background of my desktop, but I too am guilty of my desktop getting really dirty. So I'm going to be applying this step with you guys. Let's talk phones for a second, because I know a lot of us, like our entire lives are on our phones. So let's be real. Clean up your apps, organize them. I did this recently and it's like a world of a difference. Clean out your camera roll. And this part is huge. I cannot stress this enough. Social media. This is such a huge environmental container that we plug into that really affects how we think and how we feel. You need to do an audit of the accounts that you follow so that social media is a really positive and inspiring place for you that helps you to become the version of yourself that you want to become. So go through and just notice, does this account that I follow, does this content that I'm consuming inspire me and help me? Or is it holding me back in some way? Are they triggers for positive emotions or negative emotions like comparison? Do not underestimate the power of the mute button. I know that there's like politics with following or unfollowing people, right? It can like cause drama sometimes. Just mute them. If it's somebody that you feel like you can't unfollow, like it's a friend or a family member, put them on mute. They will never know. And now you don't have to see their stuff. Clean out and audit the podcast that you follow. Who are you tuning into and listening to? This is quite literally programming your brain. So be very particular. Be very intentional with what you let in, with the type of content that you are consuming. I don't call this stuff brain food for no reason. It really is what you are feeding your brain with. If you do not use Do Not Disturb on your phone, I highly recommend that you start. People should not just have infinite access to you. That's not respecting yourself, your time, and your energy. You should decide when people or apps or any other of the millions of notifications that we get on our phone get our attention. Also, quick plug, because if you're somebody who is on your phone or on your computer a lot, we just dropped these shungite pieces on Arcanum LA. We also have bracelets as well, and this helps to protect you from EMF. So I had to make sure to mention that, especially if you're someone like me who's always in front of tech. Okay, you should see my setup right now. I have the laptop there, the phone here, the camera here. Like, I gotta keep this baby on me. You probably have been waiting for me to go into the internal containers and environments, but listen, next week we are going so deep into the self, into everything internal. So I'm going to save that for us there. You already have so much to work with from all of this. But what I do want you to do this week is to connect to why you are worthy of living this way, living this up-leveled way, this this way that actually supports you and who you want to become. Remember, taking that higher self perspective and loving yourself enough to let yourself live well. Really tie this to your higher purpose. What does living well and cultivating an environment that supports your success enable you to do? And really practice starting to see yourself as a type of person who does these things and lives this way. One tip that I will give you now as far as your internal environment is, just as we are focusing on decluttering our home and our environments this week, I also want you to hold space for you to declutter your mind. And so the best way to do this is similar to what we did last week, by just brain dumping, letting it out. When we try to hold everything in our mind, this becomes very overwhelming. I'm such a huge fan of lists, just letting things have space, breathe, be saved somewhere for you to return back to, or to just let out, that isn't just all up in your mind. So take some time this week to journal, to brain dump, to just declutter your mind and let out whatever you are needing to let out. And lastly, this week, I want you to look at that list that you made last week of the ways that you want to be and live and the changes that you want to see happen in your life now. And I want you to create a sort of base routine that supports this. Now listen, we are going to go way more into routines later, so nothing too crazy. This is more just about locking you into consistency. So make sure not to overwhelm yourself with this. Think of this as like a rough draft outline of how you want to live your life. We already have our bedtime and our wake up time locked in from domino habit number 1 of last week. But what else? I will give you prompts of what to consider in the week 2 email. So be sure to sign up to receive that. The link is down below. And think of what container triggers that you can set up in your environment that will support this routine or these habits that you're beginning to implement more. So this week for the challenge, you are setting up your environment for success. Again, this is like we are setting the stage for the next level self-concept work that we will be doing next week. So do this with a lot of love and intention. Do this for your future self. Cleanse, declutter, connect to your space, and really ritualize it. I also love to bless my space and really set an intention for how I want this space to bless me back when I do this kind of work. And this doesn't just have to be done in your home. This can be done in any of the containers that we covered today, or any other ones that you can think of too. Think of any environmental habit triggers that you want to set up. For example, these are things like setting out your workout clothes, or laying out your skincare, cleaning out all the junk food from your house, really minimizing your closet down to the staple pieces that feel like the embodiment of your next level self, or anything else that you can think of that can act as triggers to encourage you taking certain actions. If you think of any other ones that I didn't mention here, be sure to comment them down below. I want to hear what they are, and I know that they'll probably really help a lot of other people too. You are also creating your base routine and adding on one more domino habit for week 2, our habit number 2. So you have your bedtime and your wake up time, which you have already been doing, and that's a great framework for your base routine. Now, like I said, we don't need to get too crazy with our base routine right now. We're just getting more in the habit of consistency. So I want to offer you a habit number 2 to implement this week. This is another domino habit that's really going to benefit so many other areas of your life. This is also a habit that we can really habit stack on and work with a lot more as we go on with this challenge and into the new year. And I don't know anybody who wouldn't benefit from this habit. That's really what these macro domino habits are all about. So this habit number 2 that I invite you to apply and lock into this week is morning sun and movement. Wow, I just noticed how much the lighting has changed since we've been here. The sun is clearly going down, you guys. Again, everybody will benefit from this. It goes along with our basic needs as human beings, but sometimes we get so busy that we don't nourish ourselves with the most basic of things. Sometimes a glow up is a lot more simple than you may think. And just by doing these minor things that support you, you make huge differences in your life. It never hurts to take a walk or to even do a little stretch. Whatever the movement is totally up to you. So do your thing with that. But I just want you to get some sun in the morning. It's gonna be good for your circadian rhythm, and get a little bit of movement investment into. This alone, along with your wake up time and bedtime, is enough for your base routine if you want to keep it at that, but feel free to add in anything else. But again, don't overwhelm yourself. You can also use this daily sun and movement as an opportunity to practice setting up the conditions that support this. So for example, laying out your workout shoes and workout clothes the night before and just noticing how that trigger positively affects and encourages the actions that you take. If you have not already, be sure to set up your rewards so you're making sure to positively reward yourself each week as you stick to these new habits. The details for that were sent in the episode 1 exclusive email, which I will also link down below so that you can get it now if you didn't get it before. We also have a little habit tracker sticker sheet there for you too to gamify this all a bit more. I want you to stick with all of this for the next 30 days. So don't just make it this one-time thing of cleaning things out and then just having it all go back to the way it was before the next day. I really want you to stick with this and support yourself by living in a supportive environment that makes you feel good. Devote to this so that you can train your mind to see yourself as the type of person who respects themselves enough to allow themselves to live good. Everything that I mentioned in this video will be linked down below for you. The sun is about to go down, so I gotta go, but be sure to subscribe and like this video so that you don't miss next week's episode. And do not forget to reserve your spot and scale before they are all taken. This round is going to be so good, very hands-on, and I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to keep these rounds of scale really intimate and be able to have this hands-on coaching element to them. So if you have been wanting to get in, trust me, this is the round to get in. With that, I am sending you so much love, so much good fucking energy, and I will see you next week for week 3. Bye.